Hi, this is Todd Oldtoff from ToddOldtoff.com coming back at you with another screencast. And this week we're going to take a look at some of the iCloud features that are built into macOS Sierra. Now, one of the features that has been added is the ability for macOS to determine when you need more file storage and to be able to move your documents and things seamlessly back and forth between iCloud and your Mac to create the space that you need. And then when more space opens up, then it adds the documents back. And really sounds like a great feature that could be available here for macOS. And so what I thought I would do is show you how all of this works, because there is some confusion about this particular item that's been added to the recent OS update. Now, a couple of things before we get started. First, I would just highly recommend that you have a backup of your documents and all of that, so that just in case something doesn't go right, you don't lose your files. Again, there can be bugs and things that happen, and Apple's had some issues sometimes with maybe things not syncing up right or being deleted and such, so I just want to make sure that I lay that out there for you so that you don't get to a place where you're trying this out and then you lose some information that might be critical to you. I'm willing to go ahead and experiment with some of that with you to show you how this works, but that's because I do have a backup, so I'm not as worried about it. So here we are in the About This Mac area. For those of you that don't know where that's at, you want to come up to the Apple up here in the top left and then just select About This Mac, and you get this window that shows up right here. And inside this window, you've got a storage area. And if I just click on storage, you'll see that it gives me a nice graphical interface that shows my various drives and shows the percentage I've got in each area in terms of things like movies and photos and documents and all that sort of thing. And depending on the drive, it's able to do this. You can see it's calculating right now on my main drive the various things that I've got in here. And eventually it'll segment it just like it has this server backup drive. I'm not going to wait for that to complete, though. I'm just going to go ahead and say Manage. And when you click on Manage, you get this new window here that gives you a number of different things that you can do to optimize your documents and your applications and all those sorts of things. So I want to kind of go through all of this, and then we're going to go ahead and set up the document deal there to sync with iCloud. Now, a few things that we have available here. The first thing is we can store photos and files in iCloud to save space. And what it does is it keeps the recently open files on your Mac, and then it optimizes your photos and everything else. And so if you click on Store in iCloud, what it's going to do is start that process of storing all that information in iCloud. I'm going to wait on that because I want to show you what we do with the documents here in a minute. Then you can also optimize storage, and what that does is it saves space by automatically removing iTunes movies and TV shows that you've already watched. So that basically if you've downloaded things that you've bought from iTunes, let's say movies and such, and what it'll do is it will just go through and take those things and remove them from iTunes on your Mac and just keep them in the cloud, and then the next time you need them you can download them. So it's a nice feature because it kind of does that for you automatically. It'll do the same thing with email attachments. It'll only keep the most recent ones, but the rest it's just going to store in the cloud. So you can see already with these two why you would want to have a good backup, because you want to make sure that nothing goes wrong. You can also empty the trash automatically and turn that on, and so what it's going to do is just empty things that have been in the trash more than 30 days. So if you're a person that just kind of puts stuff in the trash but forgets to delete it, then you can turn this feature on and it'll automatically delete that for you. And then we've got this Reduce Clutter feature, and it's going to sort through your documents and other content on your Mac and delete what's no longer needed. And so you can review the files. And I'm just going to, for right now, I'm just going to click on this Review Files. And what it does, it starts this process of showing you all of your different documents and files. Now you'll notice it's taking me right here into this Documents window right here. And this window shows me how much I've got in documents, and then I can sort them by size and all those sorts of things. And so it's got the biggest files at the top. And this would allow me right from here to either click the magnifying glass to show where this file is on my Mac, or click this X here to actually delete the file so that I no longer have it on my Mac. So when you're looking for storage, maybe your Mac's getting too full, it's nice that they've added this feature for you to be able to determine where those things are. I can do the same for downloads. If I got any downloads, they'd show up here. And then I've got a file browser built in that lets me browse through my actual files here to see where most of my storage is so that I can find the things I need to delete. Again, this comes in extremely handy. You may have used other applications like Daisy Disk or things like that that help you determine where your files are if you need more space. Well, now it's built right into the OS, and it'll show you where most of that information is stored, so you can kind of go through and find what you want to remove. So let me just go back into recommendations here. So these are all the main recommendations that take us into these other areas. If you look here on the side, I could do this manually if I want to do that as well, just to get an idea of what to do with my different files. So I can come into applications, and that'll show me the applications on my Mac. It's still going through evaluating those applications, but it'll show up in here. I showed documents. You get the same with iBooks, your iCloud drive. You can enable iCloud desktop and documents from here. I'm going to show you another place that we can enable it, but this is where I could enable the syncing of the desktop and documents to happen. Here I've got my iOS files, so any iOS files that I've got, maybe backups from iPhones and that sort of thing. And so I made a backup here just to kind of show you what that looks like. You can see I've had a backup with files that I access there. And so I can actually delete those and remove this space right from my Mac. And so, for a matter of fact, I'm just going to go ahead and click on that. And it says, you sure you want to do this? You can't undo that action. I'm going to say remove. And so what it's going to do now is remove that particular backup to give me more space on my Mac. And you can see it's already starting to work. You can see the data is going up here in terms of the space I have available on my hard drive, because it's going through and deleting that backup for me. And so it's just going to take a little bit of time to do that. Now I can do the same thing over here with iOS. Or iTunes. I can take a look at my iTunes files. Looks like I need to wait until this is finished doing its backup for me. So I'm going to go ahead and let this run until it has gotten rid of the entire file. And then once that's finished, we'll come back here and show you what it looks like for the iTunes area. Okay, so here we are. It's finished deleting. You'll notice that I no longer have an iOS files area here because I've deleted them, and you can see my drive space has gone up because I've gotten rid of that file. Now I can do the same thing here with iTunes. If I just come into iTunes itself, it's going to give me a picture there of what I've got inside of iTunes. There it is. And so it'll show me again all my different files based on file size when I last accessed them. And you can see I've got iOS apps. So these are all iOS apps from the past that have been sort of downloaded and set up there. You can see it shows last accessed recently, but that's just because the actual system updated those and accessed them to be able to display them. You can see I got all these iOS apps there. I've got some iTunes U stuff. I've got some movies, some TV shows. So I've got a bunch of things in here. And what I could do is optimize that by just getting rid of things. I could try to get rid of all of these different apps that I have downloaded, because there's really not a need to have these in here. I can delete them from here. I can open iTunes itself, or I can do the optimization that we showed on the recommendations area. Another thing you can see is finished is my applications. I've got that many gigs of applications right now on my machine, and it's still working on system. Mail, I can do the same thing here manually. I can download only recent attachments, and so it'll save, it tells me how much. It'll save up to about 329 megabytes of storage. So, you know, for me that's not a big deal, so I'm just going to leave that alone, but I could click on that. It's just showing it's using 1.17 gigs. Photos. If I click into Photos, I can optimize my photo library. Now what this does is this keeps your photos collection stored in the cloud on iCloud itself, and then it will just show thumbnails on your Mac, which will limit the size. You can see I've got quite a big file there, 434 gigabytes. I could optimize the photo library and then lower that way down to probably, I guess at most maybe 100 gigs or something like that, which would save me 300. In this case, I'm using this computer to save that information because I want to keep a copy of my photos library somewhere, and so I have it on this particular Mac. But on my laptop, I have that optimized so that it's not storing a physical copy of it, but I can still access all of my photos from iCloud itself. So it's really handy. And then I've got the trash, where I can see what's in the trash, and I can empty the trash right from here if I want to and delete all of those different files. So as you can see, if I just go back here to recommendations, as you can see, they've added a number of things that help you optimize your system and work with your drive size and all of that. Now let's talk about what to do with these documents if you want to store some of your documents in the cloud. Like I said, there was a couple ways of doing that. We could do it in, inside of this area here on iCloud Drive. I can enable the iCloud desktop and documents. The other place I can do this is in System Preferences. If I just come into System Preferences here and go to iCloud, it's going to bring up my iCloud account. And up here where I see iCloud Drive, if I just click on Options, you'll see that I can just check this box that says Desktop and Documents folders. So if I just click on that, you can see it's starting to set it up where it's going to take not only my desktop, but this folder that I've got on my desktop as well, and my Documents folder, and start to upload it to iCloud. So I'm going to say Done here, and I'm just going to cancel this out and close it out. And you can see here that it's showing what I'm using here for iCloud Drive for my documents. And you can see it says I can open iCloud Preferences to manage that now, but it's going to start uploading all of this content now to my iCloud Drive. And once that's done, I will show you what it looks like. You can track that just by coming in here to the Finder. Let me bring up a Finder window here. And in Finder, if you go to iCloud Drive, you can see right here, just by this little wheel right here, it's starting to upload the files that I've put there so that this will now sync. And you notice here my Documents file is showing here in iCloud, and so is my desktop folder showing right here as well. And so right now it's starting the process of uploading all of that information. And you can see down here it's showing what it's uploading, how many files, and how much it's done so far. So I'm going to let this run, and then I want to show you what it looks like when those things are on the cloud and how those get accessed on other devices. Okay, so here we are on the other side of the upload, and as you can see, a couple of things happened. Number one, my Documents folder disappeared from the side over here, and it got added to the iCloud section. Now you can see I've got Documents down here now and Desktop. And so those things got moved over here. You can see that I've got my iCloud Drive, and you can see inside my iCloud Drive I've got Documents and Desktop added here now. So it moves them to that location. Now these files are still here on my computer. Only if I hit the Optimize would it move documents off my Mac and just kind of keep them in the cloud only. But that's how that works, so don't be disturbed if anything happens. If you want to get out of this and you want to stop it, you can go and turn off the iCloud Drive part, and then you would just have to manually drag this stuff out and copy it to your Mac in case it was uploaded. But the beauty of this is that it moved it into this location. It's accessible from here, right? I can also access it here. You can see there's my inbox with all my information in it. And if I wanted to check just to see its availability elsewhere, let me just go over to iCloud. I'm just going to pull up the website here. And here I am on my iCloud Drive inside of my iCloud website. And you can see right here is my Documents and Desktop folder, which has all of my information in it. And again, if I just click on Desktop here and go into Desktop, you can see there's my inbox folder that I have on my desktop. So it makes it nice because I can access these all my different documents and things from my Documents folder and Desktop from here. Again, I would recommend kind of only using it for those files that you can access on your iOS devices and those sorts of things, and just probably check it out, make sure it's not anything that you don't want saved on Apple's servers somewhere. Just in case you ever get hacked or anything like that. So maybe financial stuff, I might keep that off of there. But that gives you an idea of how that works. And if you had multiple Macs that were set up, what would happen is you would then see your folders here, like let's say Desktop, and it would have the actual name of your computer. It would say, let's say Todd's Mac Mini or Todd's MacBook Pro. And so it would add that, and you'd have 2 Desktop folders and 2 Documents folders, and then that would allow you to access the documents from one device or the other on that other Mac. So again, kind of a nice feature that they've built in here. Again, I would make sure you have backups before you try it. One of the things I had to do with this is I had to restart my computer several times to unstick the uploads. I don't know if Apple is buffering that or somehow slowing things down, maybe depending on who's hitting the website or not, but it seems like it would upload for a while and then it would stop and just kind of get stuck and not finish the upload, and so then I'd have to restart my Mac and then it would kick right back in again and upload it. And the service that's doing that I think is Asset Cache, just in case you wanted to know that. I was following along with it on my computer there using Little Snitch. So that's all I have for this week. I'll be back at you next week with another screencast to help you learn how to do more things with your Mac. If you're interested in help in setting up your own server, feel free to contact me at todd@toddolthoff.com.